Hey guys, welcome back to Malcolm V8. Today we're going to tackle the lower crank pulley on an 03 Cobra. And just look at this unit. It's absolutely destroyed. Those bushings are gone. Now this is a mostly factory unit and they are a bear to get off. So this is going to be fun. So let's dive in there and see what we're in for. Whether you have a stock unit or a slightly modified one like this, the process is going to be very similar. There'll be a few differences which I'll point out. The first of which is this locking plate. The first thing I have to do is remove this to start the disassembly process. Okay, these nuts are out, but this locking plate is tight. And the reason is the hex insert in the center and these studs have a large amount of pressure on them from the rotational forces and, locking in place. So likely what I got to do here is hit this tri-bar with like a socket extension and a hammer and try and create some twisting action here to release the tension on here so that this plate will come loose and come off. Okay, well that just took way longer than it should have. I needed to hit this side of the tri-bar, but I had the bushing swelled out over here on all three of them. So I had to sit with an X-Acto knife cutting away and tearing at that bushing until I finally got enough surface area to hit that with the hammer. But once I clocked that over, now look, the tension's released and this guy's starting to come out. Okay, there we go. Locking plate out. All right, next we need to get a tool in this hex hole over here to turn this assembly out of the damper behind of it. It's a 14mm hex tool just like this. Get extras on hand. Yeah, we're about to have some fun. This thing is a bear to get off. One thing to bear in mind is it's a left-hand thread back there where this piece threads into the damper. So we're going to turn this in the direction as though we feel like we're tightening because of the left-hand thread. Okay, normally when you get to this part, you put the car in gear and set the parking brake, and that locks the crankshaft in place, and you can proceed to put pressure on here and try and crack this loose. Something I hadn't thought of ahead of time is this car has an automatic, so this presents a unique challenge. Now we got to figure out how we're going to hold the crank on this car because, it just turns. All right, to get some good ideas on how to hold the crank, I actually reached out to you guys. I hit up the Cobra forums and got a lot of good feedback. I thought I'd share some of them here. Maybe somebody can use some of these ideas. One guy says, go ahead and pull a starter motor out, and you can put a little holding tool they make right in there to lock in on the flywheel teeth, lock the crank in place. Kind of neat. And then I got one here. It says, you know what, since you've got an automatic, you're going to have a hole in the bottom of your bell housing. Go ahead and slide a little metal bracket you can create onto one of the bolts from the torque converter, bolted up to the bell housing. It's locked in place. I quite like this option because this should be the easiest. We just have to jack it up and just connect a strap right there and we should be in good shape. I think we're going to give this one a shot. Well, this bell housing is wide open. Got access right here to this torque converter bolt, so I'm sure we can fab something up here to lock this from turning and get our pulley off. Alright, this is so ridiculously simple what I made. This was just an old intercooler bracket I had laying around, so I went ahead and cut the end off and I just cut a little V in there. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to use this hole here, we're going to slip it through the converter bolt, and this side here will just peg right in, catch in the hole in the bell housing, and lock it in place. Alright, so here's the little bracket install. You can see if we can pivot that up and we get that to catch in that hole, that should allow us to lock it in place. So go ahead and turn the crankshaft there, Reese, counterclockwise. Yep, that's the way. Keep going a little bit more. Okay, stop. Now go ahead and turn it clockwise now. Okay, did it go tight and lock in place?
Yeah.
Okay, now with our crankshaft locked, we can pull this in a clockwise direction as though we were tightening and crack the pulley loose. And for those of you who've done this before, I'm sure you're laughing right now because there is no way you can pull this by hand. Even if I had two hands, there's no way. It is super, super tight. So we're gonna have to get creative with the amount of force we gotta put on this crank here to crack this thing loose. Okay, here's what we got going on to try and get this pulley off now. That's a 6-foot long extension of square tubing as a cheater bar going all the way up onto here to try and crack that loose. That is a tremendous amount of force. And most of the time, when I pull these bars up by hand, I still cannot crack that pulley loose. I have to lower the jack and use the weight of the car to crack that loose. Unbelievable how tight that is. One socket down already, and that was just pulling it by hand. We haven't even dropped the weight of the car on here yet. Picked up another socket. This one looks like it might have slightly thicker sidewall. Hopefully resist splitting as soon. Let's see. All right, this time Reese is gonna go ahead and pre-tension the breaker bar up like that, and I'm gonna hit it with a hammer to shock it to see if we can crack that thing loose. Oh, I might have done something. Hey, look at that. Success, it's spinning. All right, so now we can go ahead and undo all the bolts around here, holding the cage on, and then as we spin this here, it'll back off the damper and we can pull a whole assembly out. Okay, with the bolts out around on here, now there was a bracket on the side here that goes to the bottom of the alternator, and it overlaps in front of this bracket here, the crank pulley bracket. So you have to undo the bolts of the alternator. It's got 3 bolts on that bracket, and then you can push that bracket that way to make clearance so that this can come forward. Now in order for this to come forward, you're going to spin this in a clockwise direction, which will unthread it out of the damper, and as you're doing that, you'll see the whole entire assembly is moving towards the front of the car. Yes, it's off. Finally. And you might be thinking, yes, that's the battle. Actually, it's only half the battle. Now we have to separate the front and rear half of this to get it apart to replace the bushings. Okay, this unit here is known as a CJ Mach unit. That just plays off of the guy's SVT forum name that made these. His real name's Mike, super cool guy, good friend of mine. So on here, this is stock. This cast piece right here, this threaded piece over here is all stock. The center tri-bar piece is stock along with those threads. What's not stock is this huge big pulley over here, these 3 studs sticking out, and this little pulley over here. There's not very many of these, so if you have one of these, you're super lucky. These are extremely rare and hard to get a hold of. Mike made these back in the day so that we could retain the factory cage with a larger lower pulley to spin the supercharger faster. And he never made very many of these. A total production of these was 42, and only 28 of them ever said the word Terminator. Now I remember way back in the day, before these even said Terminator, I received one of these. Mike sent me one for testing. He wanted to see how it worked with a big blower car. He said, hey, throw this on a Whipple, tell me what happens. And something similar to this happened. The bushings got destroyed and pushed out. But even worse, these threads right here would strip. The amount of force from the engine turning with this larger circumference here gives it a lot more torque against these threads, and they would tighten down till they stripped and broke. So these studs were put in here, and this locking plate was made. You can see it's got a hex piece on it right here that fits into that center, and those 3 holes will go over these studs. It'll sit on there like that, it'll go down, and the hex piece goes in there, and the idea is to lock this to prevent it from tightening. But what we found is there's so much force that it would twist, and this hex piece would snap right off. So to try and combat that and make this even stronger, Sam, another good Cobra guy, he made one of these for me. This center piece, he made out of a hardened steel. I think it was actually an Allen wrench that he just cut a stub out of. And he slid it down, made it come all the way out the back, so it went all the way through the plate. He welded it on the back, welded it over here. He actually made a really nice piece for me. I went ahead and stuck it on, went through the paces, and I still broke it and still tore those threads up. So in the end, this was decided this only worked with smaller 2-3 blowers, not the big Whipple guys. We're gonna try and rebuild this and see if we can save it. Now you'll see it's got a smaller pulley here to account for this larger pulley. This is a Metco pulley right here, which actually feels like I need to look at the bearings. This is kind of a nice piece, so we're gonna try and preserve it. After we get this apart, we're gonna go through the process here and show you guys. I'm gonna put some harder bushing material in here. You can see this looks super soft and squishy. This stuff, super hard. Durameter 80, I had this laying around from back in the day doing testing and whatnot. We'll cut some pieces out, make some new bushings. But first, we gotta get this thing apart. Also remember, this is a left-hand thread right here. Just like that thread on the back that we tried to get out of the damper. Also left-hand thread. So don't get that wrong, you're gonna be in for a rough day. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is put a little bit of penetrating lube in here on these threads. And I'm gonna try to hit it with the impact, but I know from experience that they only come apart with an impact if they've recently been apart. If they've been on the car for a while, they never do. I've also been told to get a real impact and quit using my little dinky toy. So, that could be part of it, but nonetheless, let's give it a shot. Like I thought, nothing. Okay, plan B. probably see where I'm going with this. Here it is. This is what I made. So I welded this guy on here onto this plate. Essentially, it's a holder tool. Since we have studs coming out over here, I can literally just drop that on there like that. And we'll throw some washers on, some nuts, pinch that down, and have it snugged on here. And then this hex tool, I can drop right through the center hole I made and go ahead and muscle this loose. Except it's a lot tighter than that. I would probably have a second person over here holding this, and I'd come along on this side here with this guy and probably shock it with a hammer to try and crack that loose. Now, since I don't have a helper around right now to help me, I am gonna go ahead and try and rig this up somehow to try and do a one-man job. So let's see how unsafe this can get. I got it clamped in the vise and then I heated up the threads. At first I'm trying to pull it and shock it with a hammer, but I quickly realized I can't pull with hardly any force because I'm still recovering from rotator cuff surgery and I just lack the strength. So I decided to use gravity and my body weight to my advantage and turn this whole thing on its side and go at it this way. Even with that massive 6-foot cheetah bar, I can't get it loose. So all of that force, I actually was starting to turn this. You can see we had those paint marks. We have made almost a 90-degree turn, but there was so much force fighting every inch of the way. I have a feeling that these threads are destroyed. Even when we get this off, I think this tri-bar assembly is gonna be junk. And to give you an idea of how much force I'm putting on here, look at this. This is a 1/4-inch bar. I bent it back and forth multiple times. I mean, with that 6-foot cheetah bars, unbelievable amount of force. So about this point, you're probably realizing, wow, I don't know why a lot of 03 Cobra guys just abandon this stock pulley setup and go to an aftermarket unit. I'm with you. I'm with you, trust me. Okay, one last chance at trying to get these two apart before it goes to a machine shop to just get this whole center section milled out. I'm gonna hit it with a little gas torch here, get this nice and hot. And I got a much more powerful impact, supposedly the most powerful electric 1/2-inch drive impact there is, according to some reviews I watched. And we also found an impact hex piece. That's kind of nice, so that should save us, just breaking all of these. Oh, it's apart, dude. Wow. Wow. Oh, yeah, those threads are gone. Well, there you can see why those threads were so incredibly difficult to get apart. They were just destroyed. Wow. Oh yeah, look at that. This tri-bar is done. Nope, there it comes. Look at what's left of that. Holy cow. To repair this destroyed tri-bar, we went ahead and got a bone stock low mileage unit that we can steal the tri-bar from and repair our unit. And it's kind of nice here to see the differences side by side. You can see how much smaller diameter this is versus this larger 4-pound lower. And of course you can see how big this is compared to the little one that we were using. Now of course this one's taken apart right now. I'm putting new bearings in it. If you've never seen one of these lowers taken apart and wondered how does it not have any force on the crank, the pulley is directly attached to the outer cage and has no attachment directly to the crankshaft. So the tri-bar setup, this piece here comes through the bottom and it's kind of floating. It's attached to the damper behind it, and then the tri-bar attaches on there and sits in those rubber bushings. So essentially, this is free floating from the pulley and then how it creates its turning action. And that's how this is, completely isolated from the crankshaft. All right, let's get this tri-bar off. What a difference on a tri-bar that's never seen a big blower before. Did you see how quick and easy that came apart? It was like it was nothing. Okay, now to cut this bushing material, I usually just grab it in a pair of soft jaws, like what you use for AN lines. That gives it a little bit more of a rounded hold than a direct pressure point. And I also take a bolt of about the correct size for the center hole. Go ahead and put that in there, and that helps it not deflect when it gets crushed in a vise to hold it in place. Obviously the bolt doesn't go all the way to the end, so the piece I cut off won't have a bolt in it. And new really hard bushings. They're actually so hard, they're kind of difficult to even get started in the hole here. Okay, next we're gonna take our new tri-bar piece and we're gonna put these studs in there with a spline on the base. Drop them in there and hammer them like that. I pulled them out of the old tri-bar. Now obviously if you have a bone stock lower, you're gonna skip that step because you won't have a locking plate going on top of here. Okay, now with our studs in here, we need to clock these two so that this locking plate will work. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you line up those studs with those 3 holes, this hex piece is in a fixed location. It can't turn to a different position, so it needs to line up perfectly to slip into that. And the way we do that is we spin this all the way down, test the fitment, and if it needs to change, we can file some material off of here with a hand file. And when you do that, you're gonna allow this to engage slightly deeper. And as it goes slightly more in, it's gonna turn a little further. So as you file just small amounts off at a time, it'll change how this ends up and it'll adjust how these two are clocked within each other. Put a Sharpie line here so you can see where I started. Look how much I had to clock it to get this to fit. But now this lines up. The studs and the hex piece all slide in. Here we are, all ready to go back in the car. I did notice the nuts that were holding the locking plate on were nylon locking nuts, and the nylons were kind of burnt out, I'm assuming from the heat of the engine. So I got mechanical locking nuts that are just slightly pinched to create the lock, and there's no nylon to burn away. So hopefully the setup lasts us for a long time. All the hardware back in place and everything reattached. You do not have to monkey tighten this thing back on. You can just give this pulley a light snug, that's all it needs. The engine will tighten those left-hand threads when it's running and completely monkey tighten it for you, so next time you go to take it apart, it'll be just as much fun. It's like the gift that never stops giving. However, if this one fails on me again, it's out of here. We're changing setups. All right, guys, there you have it. I'm sure a lot of you have your own crazy pulley stories. I'd love to hear about them. Throw them down in the comments. Until next time, see you later. So next time you go to take it apart, it'll be just as much fun. It's like the gift that never keeps...